Hi guys, this is lesson 4 part 2 of Modern India Tamil Nadu class 12 where we are talking about Lord Hastings who was the Governor General of India from 1813 to 1823, and in the last video we talked about how he suppressed the Pindaris and Gurkhas. So let's start with the downfall of Maratha Confederacy now. So the downfall of Maratha Confederacy, as I've already talked, that first of all, there was a huge mutual jealousy and fighting among all the Maratha chiefs. Also, Marathas had weakened considerably after the Third Battle of Panipat 1761, which happened between Marathas and the invading Afghan army led by Ahmed Shah Abdali. And Marathas were defeated at that. So Marathas had weakened obviously after all these battles, but still they were a threat to British. And Peshwa had an intention of becoming the head of Maratha Confederacy, and that is why he was, planning somehow to throw out British. But British company was also preparing to kind of take a hold of Maratha Confederacy. So, on the advice of the company, Gaikwar sent his Prime Minister Gangadhar Shastri to negotiate with Peshwa Bajirao too. But in July 1815, when Gangadhar Shastri has gone for negotiation, he was murdered at Nasik while he was returning at the instance of, at like the command of Trimbakji Dengale, who was the chief minister of Peshwa. And Trimbakji is popular because he was helping Peshwa Bajirao too, so that he could realize his dream of becoming the head of Maratha Confederacy, and that is why he kind of commanded for the murder of Gangadhar Shastri, and this angered not only British but also the Marathas, because obviously he Gangadhar Shastri was the Prime Minister of Gaikwar, who also is one of the Marathas. So that is why it kind of angered, and Trimbakji was asked to be handed over to British, and Peshwa also handed him over. I don't know why, but he handed him over to the British, who was kept in Thana jail, but he escaped from there. Quite a smart man, I can say. And 13 June 1817, British resident Elphinstone forced Peshwa Bajirao II to sign Treaty of Poona, because they had understood that Peshwa Bajirao II will be planning something or the other. So they kind of made pressure on him, so that, and he was already weakened because Trimbakji was handed over to the British. So British resident Elphinstone forced Peshwa to sign Treaty of Poona. Okay. But as we see, like Peshwa was not ready to give up. He was like कि मुझे किसी भी तरीके से head बनना है मराठा का. So he kind of like refused the Treaty of Poona, and on 5 November 1817 he attacked the British Residency, but he was defeated at Kirki. Also in November 1817, भोसले chief also kind of felt कि मुझे भी लड़ाई करनी है. सब लड़ रहे मुझे भी लड़ना है. So Bhosle chief also Appa Sahib, he also fought a battle of Sita Baldi with British, and he was also defeated. And to note it down, before this he had signed Treaty of Nagpur, which he refused to abide, and that is why he called the Battle of Sita Baldi. And this Treaty of Nagpur was signed in 17 May 1816. But afterwards, Appa Sahib felt that no, I will not give up Nagpur, and he felt that let me fight. But anyways, he was defeated. But that's okay. He at least tried. And 21 December 1817 at Baroda, Holkar too was defeated. So Peshwa's last hope, Holkar, which to which Peshwa had gone for help, that Holkar please help me, and Holkar also you know fought there कि चलिए चलिए मैं आपकी मदद करूंगा, but he was also defeated at Baroda on 21st December 1817. So you can see how the things quickly took place. Like 5 November 1817, Peshwa was defeated at Kirki. At 21st December 1817, Holkar was also defeated, who, but like Peshwa had gone for help. And before that, in November 1817, Bhosle chief Appa Sahib was also defeated at Battle of Sitabaldi. So Marathas were trying to fight against British, but they were not successful. They were defeated. And in 1818, Sindhia, he signed a new treaty with British. And inside that treaty, there was a condition that Ajmer had to be given to Nawab of Bhopal, who was obviously under British suzerainty, who had accepted that British was superior to him. So, and that is why Ajmer was given to Nawab of Bhopal. Basically, it was given to British, but to like formally, it was given to Nawab of Bhopal, who already was under British. Okay. And the last person who was to accept this was Gaikwar of Baroda. He accepted the subsidiary alliance and handed over certain areas of Ahmedabad to the British. So you see how the Marathas fell under British, and we can see that they had a strong army. They're quite strong. They had everything very nice, but the main failure behind Maratha Confederacy was, first of all, their disunity. I mean, they were not united. They had mutual jealousies, fights among them. And of course, if you cannot stand together in your area, somebody is going to take the benefit of that, and British did exactly that. Secondly, they were kind of underestimating the British power, and they also didn't know how to take proper action at a proper point of time, because the political situation and were changing, and they needed to adapt themselves according to the timing, but they were not able to do that. So this is how the whole Maratha Confederacy fell, because of like lack of good leadership and administration, and lack of unity among themselves. So now we'll see what were the reforms by Hastings. Until now, we already only saw his wars and battles, and how he defeated everybody to consolidate British Empire and expand it. But now we will see what were the reforms brought by Hastings. He was good at administration as well, and he approved the Rayotwari system of land revenue, which was introduced in the Madras Presidency by Sir Thomas Munro. So Ryotwari system was introduced not by Hastings, but by Sir Thomas Munro in the Madras Presidency, and Hastings approved this system for the areas. So Rayotwari system, what is it? We have already heard permanent settlement Jamindari system. So Rayotwari system is different from Zamindari system. Here the British government would collect tax directly from the peasants, like the farmers, not the zamindars. And the revenue rates of Rayotwari system were 50% where the lands were dry, and 60% in irrigated land. So this was a good start by Hastings. Also, he encouraged the foundation of vernacular schools. Vernacular means local language schools, like the local Indian languages. He encouraged the foundation of vernacular schools by missionaries and others. He did not say that no, only English is superior and you need to learn only English. He encouraged vernacular schools. And he was the patron of Hindu College. You should know, this is very, very important. Hindu College was established in 1817 at Calcutta, and Sir Hastings was the patron of Hindu College. And Hindu College actually was established by the public for the teaching of English and Western science. So Hastings had great interest in like promoting vernacular schools and education, and we'll also see that he was quite good at like removing, you know, press, the restrictions on press which was brought by Wellesley. So we'll see that. As I said, he abolished the censorship of Press Act 1799, which was introduced by Wellesley because he believed in free press, and that is why this education and press, these reforms were like great by Hastings. If you ever write anytime reforms of Hastings are asked, these points should come at first in your answers. And the Bengali weekly Samachar Darpan was started in 1818 by Marshman, a Sirampur missionary. Marshmallow याद रखो, ठीक है? And Samachar Darpan was started by Marshman, a Sirampur missionary. In judiciary and like the small other reforms, if you can see, the less important ones but still significant is that in judiciary the Cornwallis code was improved. Cornwallis code, if you remember, it was like Cornwallis had like all kind of reforms which he wanted to bring in judicial administration and everything. He kind of integrated all these laws into one code, and that was called Cornwallis code. He had around 45 laws under that regarding all fields. He Cornwallis had a tendency to like separate the functions. He believed in that, but Hastings had not believed so much in that. In his reign, the district acted as magistrate. He did not like do so much in judiciary and revenue. The differences, he didn't do that. Also, the police system of Bengal was extended to other regions, and in Hastings' reign, importance of Indian munsifs had increased in the administration. So this is all about reforms of Hastings. You should remember that he abolished the Censorship of Press Act 1799 introduced by Wellesley. This is a very, very important point. And also that he was the patron of Hindu College, which was established in 1817. Okay, it's very, very important. So if we see the estimate of Lord Hastings, these points are like already clear that he was an able soldier, a brilliant administrator, and he had very liberal views on education. He encouraged vernacular schools, and he had liberal views on press as well. He abolished Censorship of Press Act 1799, and he is considered the maker of Bombay Presidency. Basically, because Marathas were defeated and everything was brought under British, so somehow all this led to Bombay Presidency creation. And Lord Hastings was succeeded by Lord Amherst, who was there, the Governor General from 1823 to 28. An important event which happened under Lord Amherst was the first Anglo-Mysore War, which happened in 1824 to 26. See, I understand that it is difficult to remember all these like timelines, first Anglo-Mysore War 1824 to 26, and that is why revisions are important. If you keep revising, just watch this video 2 to 3 times, and whenever you feel that you have forgotten something, just watch it that then and there, and you can remember the datas, because history is nothing without revision. If you don't revise, you will not remember the timelines. It is not important that you know the exact time, the exact year, but it is important that you should first know the timeline, what happened when, an approximate idea, and after that you can brush up and remember the exact timelines, like 1824 to 26, the exact timelines. Okay, so the practice questions. Lord Hastings declared war on Nepal in the year. Pause the video and I can tell the answer then. So it was 1814 when Lord Hastings declared war on Nepal, and Gurkhas were defeated in that, which is really sad, but they were defeated, and Treaty of Sagoli was signed. Okay. Next question. The third battle of Panipat took place in the year. The year is 1761. Now, this battle, as I've already said you, was fought between Maratha Empire and the invading Afghan army, whose king was Ahmad Shah Abdali, and he was victorious in the war. The Ahmad Shah Abdali. He was also supported by three Indian allies, Rohilla Nazib ud Daula and Afghans of the Doab region, and Suja ud Daula, the Nawab of Awadh. So you should not confuse between Sirajud-Daulah and Shuja'ud-Daulah. Sirajud-Daulah was of Bengal and Shuja'ud-Daulah is of Awadh. बहुत confusing होता है, I understand, but yeah, we need to remember this. Okay. Next question. Treaty of Sagoli was concluded in, oh my God. So 1816, I think it was already kind of obvious. So yeah, Treaty of Sagoli was signed between Gurkhas and British. Next is match the following, where we can see Amar Singh Thapa, Karim Khan, Sir Thomas Munro, and Samachar Darpan. Pause the video and then I can discuss this answer. So yes, Amar Singh Thapa, as you can quite guess it, that he was the general of Nepal and who was leading the Gurkhas army and was defeated by British in the war. Karim Khan was one of the chiefs of Pindaris, and we have already heard about him. He also had to, he had, I think, got the Gorakhpur district under United Provinces after the Pindaris were suppressed. Sir Thomas Munro, as we recently saw, that he introduced Rayotwari system in Madras Presidency, and Samachar Darpan was a Bengali weekly which was started by Marshman, a Shirampur missionary, under Hastings reign, because Hastings was quite you know liberal in education and press as well. Okay, so this was all about the video. Thank you so much for watching.